Good morning. Today is day 2 of our Arbuckle Tract backpacking trip. Yesterday we hiked 14.10 miles from the south trailhead to the lakeside primitive campsite located at Lake Arbuckle. Last night we had partly cloudy skies, a low of 53 degrees with winds out of the northeast at about 7 miles. We were the only hikers at camp last night and spent a nice quiet night. We heard no cars, people, just the wind and the usual sounds of the night. Since we were near a lake, the various birds and frogs were quite active and woke us up just before daylight per hour. My recent one-time win on the Green Swamp trip came to a screeching halt last night again. I started out strong and won the first few games of cards, but fizzled out and lost the best of 5. Because I lost, it is my morning chore to fix the coffee and breakfast. On the menu this morning, we're having Alpine Start coffee and a good hot cereal from Backpacker Pantry. Today's hike back to the south trailhead should be an easy 6 miles or so. The temperature should be about 55 at the start and a low of 70 when we arrive back. Here's a copy of today's route. We will head south along Lake Arbuckle for about 2.7 miles and then turn away from the lake for the remaining miles back to the trailhead. We are packed up and ready to head out. I found out when we got into camp yesterday that I had made a huge mistake. Despite having a checklist, I discovered that somehow my electronic bag didn't make it into the backpack. This bag contained my battery bank, charging cables for the phone, GoPro, and camera. We carry a couple batteries for the camera and 3 batteries for the GoPro. To make matters worse, the GoPro battery and the camera was completely empty at the start of the hike. Currently, we have about 50% left in the camera and about 70% left in the last GoPro battery, which does eat through batteries at a crazy rate, hoping to have enough left to capture the return hike today. We will be back shortly to talk about another gear item that we carry on our backpacking trips. In this section of trail by the lake, we finally had to pull out our bug nets. We first thought they were mosquitoes, but it ended up being just gnats, but there were thousands and thousands of them. It seemed like they lasted for about a quarter to half a mile. We have been sharing a piece of gear we use in each of the videos. This is by no means a review, but just simply what we're using, a little information about it, and our thoughts so far. In the previous videos, I discussed our rain jacket, backpack, and sleep system. Today we will talk about the cook system. We're using the MSR Pocket Rocket 2. This is an ultralight stove weighing in at 2.6 ounces and boils a liter of water in 3.5 minutes. For a cooking pot, we're using the Toaks Titanium 750 milliliter pot. This is an ultralight pot at 3.3 ounces with a milliliter and ounce marks for measurements and fold-away handles for compact storage. For cups and bowls, we're using the Sea to Summit X collapsible mug and bowl, which we love. For a utensil, we're using the Sea to Summit long spork at 0.4 ounces. We really like all the items except for the long spork. We're currently looking for something else to try, perhaps something also light and foldable and collapsible. I will add a link to the gear in the description. The Arbuckle Tract was a very different hike, and for being flat was much harder than what we expected. The loop was very much open and you're exposed to the elements the majority of the time. We did have lower temperatures this weekend, so not a big deal, but it would be a challenge on a hot Florida day. The other factor that made this a little harder was the sand. I think the trail was sandy for at least half of the loop. Most of the time it was packed, but there were times when it was beach-like sand. I found that taking smaller steps seemed to help when you hit the deeper sand. Luckily, they never lasted very long. The plants and the different landscape than what we were used to made up for those sandy spots. It really is a very unique, beautiful area. Only suggestion would be to go when the temperatures are lower or on a cloudy day. We stopped for a moment to take a picture of a flower, looked up, and happened to notice this critter next to us. We are just about back to the trailhead. Today's hike was 6.06 miles and a duration of 3 hours and 7 minutes. The GoPro and the camera ran out of their batteries about an hour before we finished. I will be double checking to make sure the electronics bag is in the backpack the next time. We are heading home to clean up and start planning for the next spring adventure. I will post the day one in the description in case you missed it. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and click the bell to get notified when we upload new videos. We will see you on the next spring adventure.